The Imperial ships emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system, their golden hulls gleaming against the backdrop of distant stars. To the Empire, this was supposed to be a routine first contact with yet another primitive world. They had done this thousands of times before, and it always ended the same way, with a new planet added to their vast empire. High Commander Marcus stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Emperor's Will, watching the holographic display of the solar system before him. His perfectly pressed uniform sparkled with medals from 100 successful conquests. A small smile played across his face as he studied the third planet from the sun. Another simple conquest, he said to his bridge crew. Prepare the standard greeting package. But something was wrong. Within seconds of their arrival, every sensor on their ships began screaming warnings. The Empire's most advanced detection systems were picking up energy readings that shouldn't exist on a world that had only recently discovered space travel. Sir, Lieutenant Rogers, the sensor officer, called out in alarm. We're being scanned. The technology. It's nothing like we've ever seen before. Before Marcus could respond, a massive holographic projection appeared in front of their fleet. It showed a man in a crisp blue uniform, his shoulders decorated with 4 stars. His face was stern but calm, showing neither fear nor surprise at the arrival of an alien fleet. This is Admiral James Thompson of the Earth Defense Force, the figure announced. You have entered restricted space. Identify yourselves and state your purpose. Marcus recovered quickly from his surprise. These primitives shouldn't have such communication capabilities. Still, the script remained the same. He stepped forward, his voice carrying the weight of 10,000 conquered worlds. I am High Commander Marcus of the Galactic Empire. We come offering you the privilege of joining our grand civilization. Submit now, and your transition into the Empire will be peaceful. The human admiral's expression didn't change. Instead, he looked almost amused. I see, Thompson replied. And if we decline this generous offer? Marcus frowned. This wasn't how these conversations usually went. Refusal is not recommended. The Empire's might is beyond your comprehension. We have conquered galaxies. Your primitive world cannot hope to resist. A soft chuckle escaped Thompson's lips. Primitive. Let me show you something, High Commander. Suddenly, the Empire's sensors detected movement. From behind Mars emerged a single ship, small by Imperial standards. It was sleek, dark, and moved with impossible grace. The Empire's computers couldn't even begin to analyze its composition. Sir, Lieutenant Rogers shouted again. That ship. Our sensors can't lock onto it. The energy readings are off the charts. Marcus felt the first stirring of unease in his stomach. Launch a fighter squadron. Let's test their capabilities. 20 Imperial fighters streaked toward the lone Earth vessel. They were the pride of the Empire's fleet, capable of overwhelming most planetary defenses single-handedly. The Earth ship didn't move. It didn't have to. A soft blue light pulsed from the ship, and every Imperial fighter froze in space. Not damaged, not destroyed, just stopped, as if time itself had ceased to flow around them. A small demonstration, Admiral Thompson said calmly. Those pilots are unharmed. They're simply taking a brief pause. We can resume time for them whenever we choose. Marcus felt the blood drain from his face. In 3,000 years of Imperial expansion, he had never seen technology like this. Impossible, he whispered. Not impossible, High Commander, just beyond your current understanding. Thompson's voice remained level. Now let me be clear. Earth is forbidden territory. This is not a negotiation. This is not a request. This is a fact. You have 30 minutes to collect your fighters. We'll release them for you and leave the solar system. If you return, the reception will be less friendly. As if to emphasize the point, the Earth ship vanished from their sensors, only to reappear simultaneously in 3 different locations around the Imperial fleet. A clear message. We can be everywhere, and you can't stop us. Marcus looked at his crew's terrified faces and made the only logical decision. Recall the fighters once they're released. Plot a course out of this system. He paused, then added quietly, and prepare my report to the Imperial Council. They need to know. They need to know we found something different out here. As the Imperial fleet retreated, Admiral Thompson watched from Earth's orbital command center. Next to him, General Robert Steele shook his head. They'll be back, won't they? Of course, Thompson replied, checking the data from their scans of the Imperial ships. They always come back, but next time, they'll find out why Earth is really forbidden territory. The game had begun, and humanity had just played its first card. 3 days after the first encounter, the Imperial fleet returned. This time, they'd brought 30 dreadnoughts, each one large enough to cast a shadow on Earth's moon. High Commander Marcus stood on his bridge again, but now his confident smile was replaced with grim determination. No more diplomatic games, he announced to his fleet commanders through the neural link. We'll show these humans what real power looks like. On Earth, Admiral Thompson sat in the underground command center, watching the Imperial ships appear one by one. The massive wall screen showed each vessel's position, marked in red against the black of space. Next to him, Dr. Anna Wilson studied the readings with interest. They'd upgraded their shields, she noted, tapping her tablet. They actually learned something from our last encounter. Interesting. Thompson nodded. Not enough, though. He pressed a button on his chair. All stations, initiate Defense Protocol 2. Let's show them why Earth is forbidden. High above Earth's atmosphere, thousands of tiny lights began to shine. The Empire's sensors detected them too late. A network of satellites, each smaller than a car, but glowing with more power than an Imperial dreadnought's reactor. Full attack formation, Marcus ordered. Launch all fighters and begin the invasion sequence. The Imperial fleet moved forward like a golden wave of metal and energy. 10,000 fighters poured from the larger ships, their formation perfect after centuries of practice. They expected resistance. They expected a fight. They didn't expect what happened next. A single Earth corvette, even smaller than the one they'd seen before, emerged from behind the moon. Its black hull seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Lieutenant Rogers, still at his sensor station, frowned at the readings. Sir, that ship, it's distorting space around it. Before Marcus could respond, the corvette moved. Not through space, but with space. The fabric of reality seemed to bend around it. In 3 seconds, it passed through the entire Imperial fighter screen, leaving a trail of disabled ships in its wake. Impossible. Marcus slammed his fist on his command console. All ships, open fire. Full power to forward batteries. 3,000 energy beams converged on the Earth ship. They hit what looked like empty space and simply vanished. A voice crackled through every Imperial communication channel. Admiral Thompson's voice. Perhaps we weren't clear enough last time, he said calmly. Let me demonstrate why this space is forbidden. The Earth corvette pulsed once. A wave of dark energy spread out from it like ripples in a pond. Where it touched Imperial ships, their power simply died. No explosions, no dramatic destruction. Just 30 of the Empire's most powerful warships turned into powerless hunks of metal. What did you do? Marcus whispered into the comm. We temporarily suspended your ship's ability to interact with certain laws of physics, Dr. Wilson's voice replied. Don't worry, it's temporary. Your backup power will restore in about 10 minutes. Just enough time for you to drift back out of our solar system. On the Emperor's will, emergency lights cast red shadows across terrified faces. Marcus watched helplessly as his mighty fleet floated backward, pushed by momentum alone. Their weapons were useless. Their engines were dead. Even their artificial gravity had failed. Before you leave, Thompson added, let me make something perfectly clear. What you saw today wasn't our defense fleet. That corvette. It's a training vessel. We use it to teach our academy students basic space-time manipulation. Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. A training vessel. His fleet had just been defeated by the equivalent of a school bus. The solar system is off limits, Thompson continued. Not because we're afraid of you, but because we're trying to protect you. There are things out here that your empire isn't ready to face. Consider this your final warning. Next time, we won't be so gentle. As power slowly returned to the Imperial ships, Marcus looked at the small blue planet on his view screen. For the first time in his career, he felt true fear. Not of defeat. He had tasted that today, but of what else these humans might be capable of. Plot a course home, he ordered quietly, and prepare for an emergency session with the Imperial Council. They need to know what we found here. On Earth, Thompson watched the Imperial fleet limp away. Dr. Wilson stood beside him, shaking her head. They still don't understand, do they? She asked. No, Thompson replied. They don't understand that we're not just protecting ourselves. We're protecting them too. Let's hope they don't have to find out why the hard way. The Imperial Council chamber was silent as the holographic recording ended. 12 council members sat around the massive golden table, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of floating light orbs. They had just watched the complete defeat of their strongest fleet by a single Earth ship. High Commander Marcus stood in the center of the room, his uniform still showing signs of damage from the power loss his ship had suffered. The silence stretched on until First Speaker William broke it with a sharp laugh. A training vessel, he said, his voice filled with disbelief. You expect us to believe that 30 of our best ships were disabled by a human teaching tool? Marcus straightened his back. The evidence is clear, First Speaker. Our best sensors recorded everything. These humans, they're far beyond us. From the shadows, Chief Scientist Peter stepped forward. His white hair seemed to glow in the chamber's dim light. What troubles me most isn't their technology, he said, gesturing to the floating data screens around him. It's the fact that they've been watching us for centuries without our knowledge. The council members shifted uncomfortably in their seats. The Empire prided itself on knowing everything that happened in the galaxy. The idea that an entire civilization had been observing them undetected was deeply disturbing. Show them what we found, Peter commanded. New holograms appeared, showing ancient Imperial expedition records. Look at these reports from 300 years ago. Unexplained sensor ghosts near our colonies. Strange energy readings that our ships couldn't explain. Even cases of lost Imperial vessels being mysteriously pushed back onto safe courses when they strayed into dangerous regions of space. Second Speaker Mary leaned forward. Are you suggesting these humans have been protecting us? That's exactly what that Earth Admiral implied, Marcus added. He said they were protecting us from something worse. Something we're not ready to face. The chamber erupted in angry shouts. Councilors argued back and forth, their voices echoing off the ancient walls. Some demanded immediate retaliation with the Empire's planet-killer weapons. Others called for peaceful contact. A few even suggested retreating from that entire sector of space. Silence. First Speaker William's voice cut through the chaos. He turned to Chief Scientist Peter. Can we replicate their technology? Peter shook his head slowly. We've analyzed every piece of data from both encounters. Their ships don't just break our understanding of physics. They operate on principles we can't even begin to comprehend. It's like trying to explain space travel to a Stone Age tribe. Impossible. Third Speaker Richard slammed his fist on the table. We are the Empire. We have ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. These humans can't be that far beyond us. Look at these energy readings, Peter said, bringing up new diagrams. Their training ship was manipulating dark matter like we manipulate simple electricity. They didn't just disable our ships. They temporarily rewrote the laws of physics around them. We can't even theorize how that's possible. Marcus stepped forward again. There's something else. Our long-range scans detected massive structures throughout their solar system. They built things around their sun, their planets, even in the space between worlds. But here's the strange part. They're hiding most of it. What we saw was just what they wanted us to see. The council chamber grew quiet again as the implications sank in. An entire civilization, more advanced than they could imagine, had been living right on their borders. Not only living there, but watching them, possibly guiding them, definitely protecting them from something. First Speaker Williams stood slowly. "We have three choices," he said. "We can accept their warning and leave them alone. We can attempt peaceful contact on their terms. Or we can throw everything we have at them and prove the Empire's supremacy." With respect, First Speaker, Marcus said quietly, "If we choose the third option, I don't think there will be an Empire left to prove anything." Peter nodded in agreement. The humans could have destroyed our ships. Instead, they simply disabled them and sent us home. That wasn't weakness. That was mercy. The council members looked at each other, the weight of the decision heavy in the air. For the first time in Imperial history, they faced a power that could not only resist them but seemed completely uninterested in their authority. "There is a fourth option," Third Speaker Richard said suddenly. "We find out what these humans are so afraid of. What's out there that's so terrible they feel the need to protect an entire empire from it." The chamber fell silent once more as they considered his words. None of them noticed the small, dark probe floating outside the council chamber's windows, transmitting everything back to Earth. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a chamber that officially didn't exist, Admiral Thompson watched multiple holographic screens floating in the air. Each one showed different feeds: the Imperial Council's secret meeting, their fleet movements, and the Empire's frantic attempts to understand Earth's technology. "They're going to come in force," General Steele said, studying a tactical display showing Imperial ships gathering at their borders. "Looks like they're pulling vessels from every corner of their empire." Dr. Wilson walked into the chamber, her footsteps echoing against the stone walls. The blue glow from her tablet illuminated her face. "The probes report they've gathered over 10,000 ships. It seems they're choosing option 3, throwing everything they have at us." Thompson nodded slowly. "Then it's time. Activate Project Prometheus." The words sent a ripple of activity through the command center. Officers rushed to their stations, and new holographic displays sprang to life. On the main screen, a massive map of the solar system appeared, showing hundreds of hidden installations springing to life. "Send the signal to Mars Colony and Europa Base," Thompson ordered. "Tell them to drop their camouflage. No point hiding anymore." Across the solar system, humanity's true power began to reveal itself. The red surface of Mars shimmered as massive city domes became visible. Europa's icy surface turned transparent, revealing sprawling underwater metropolises. Between the planets, thousands of space stations and defense platforms dropped their stealth fields. "What about the Dyson ring?" General Steele asked. "Not yet," Thompson replied. "That's our surprise for their main fleet. Doctor, how's Project Prometheus looking?" Dr. Wilson pulled up a new display showing a massive structure hidden in the asteroid belt. "The quantum core is stable. All tests are green. We can activate it anytime." "Sir," a young officer called out, "the Imperial probe is still watching us. Should we block its transmission?" Thompson smiled. "No, let them watch. In fact, let's give them something to see." He pressed a button on his command chair. All Earth Defense Force ships emerged from stealth. "Show Formation Alpha." In space above Earth, the air seemed to ripple. Hundreds of ships, far more advanced than the training corvette that had disabled the Imperial fleet, appeared in perfect formation. Each one was black as space itself, their hulls absorbing light rather than reflecting it. "Message from Mars Colony," another officer reported. "General Banks says their quantum cannons are online. Europa Base reports their space-time distortion grid is ready." Thompson stood up, looking at each screen in turn. "Send word to all colonies and bases. Defense Protocol Omega is now active. If the Empire wants to learn why Earth is forbidden territory, we'll teach them." Dr. Wilson's tablet beeped urgently. "Admiral, we're detecting quantum fluctuations. Something's coming through the void between galaxies." "They're early," Thompson muttered. "How long until the Empire's fleet arrives?" "At their current speed, 48 hours, General Steele reported." Thompson's face grew serious. "Then we have no choice. We have to deal with the Empire quickly." He turned to Dr. Wilson. "Doctor, begin powering up the Prometheus device. If we have to fight a war on two fronts, we'll need every advantage." In space, Earth's defense fleet began to move. The ships arranged themselves in a pattern that, seen from above, looked like an ancient Celtic shield knot. Energy began to flow between them, creating a web of light that encased the entire planet. "Sir," an officer called out, "the Imperial probe is transmitting everything back to their council." "Good," Thompson replied. "Let them see what they're really dealing with. Maybe they'll make the wise choice and turn back." He paused, looking at a dark spot on the long-range sensors, barely visible at the edge of known space. "Because if they don't, they'll be facing something far worse than us very soon." Dr. Wilson studied the same sensor reading. "The void ones are getting bolder. They're crossing earlier than we predicted." "Then we better hope the Empire makes the right choice," Thompson said, "because humanity didn't build all this just to rule the galaxy. We built it to save it." The command center hummed with activity as humanity prepared for what was coming. Not just the Imperial fleet, but something darker, something that lurked between the galaxies. Something that humanity had been holding back for centuries while the Empire played at conquest, unaware of the real war being fought in the shadows. Project Prometheus pulsed in the asteroid belt, its quantum core glowing brighter with each passing moment. Earth's greatest weapon, and perhaps its greatest shield, was almost ready. The only question was, would they have to use it against the Empire, or save it for what came after? The Imperial Armada appeared at the edge of the solar system, like a wave of golden metal. 15,000 ships, the largest fleet ever assembled in Imperial history, emerged from hyperspace simultaneously. Their formation stretched across space for millions of kilometers, blocking out the stars behind them. High Commander Marcus stood on his new flagship, the Imperial Judgment, watching Earth's solar system on his view screen. Next to him, First Speaker William himself had come to watch humanity's submission to Imperial might. "Send the message," William commanded. "Let's see how brave they are now." Before Marcus could transmit anything, every Imperial screen lit up with Admiral Thompson's face. He looked calm, almost sad. "This is your final warning," Thompson said simply. "Turn back now." William stepped forward. "We are the Imperial fleet. We have brought the full might off." "Look up," Thompson interrupted. Every Imperial officer looked at their sensors, then gasped. Above their fleet, the space itself seemed to unfold. A massive ring structure appeared around the sun, stretching across the solar system. The Dyson Ring, humanity's greatest engineering achievement, had revealed itself. "By the stars," Marcus whispered. "All ships, open fire," William screamed. "Full attack pattern. Show them our power." 15,000 ships launched their weapons. Energy beams and plasma torpedoes streaked across space toward the Earth fleet. It should have been enough firepower to destroy a planet. Instead, something impossible happened. The space between the fleets rippled. A massive quantum field emerged, created by Project Prometheus. Every Imperial weapon simply stopped. Not blocked, not absorbed. They stopped existing in normal spacetime. "Impossible." William grabbed the command console. "Our weapons, they're just gone." Thompson's voice came again. "We tried to warn you. Now watch carefully. This is why Earth is forbidden territory." The Dyson Ring pulsed once. A wave of energy spread out, touching each Imperial ship. But instead of destroying them, it did something far more frightening. It showed them the truth. Every Imperial crew member suddenly saw images. Massive dark shapes moving between galaxies, entities that defied understanding. horrors that humanity had been fighting for centuries. They saw Earth ships battling these creatures in the void, protecting the galaxy while the Empire played at conquest. What? What are those things? William's voice shook. The real enemy, Thompson replied. The Void Ones. The reason we built all this. The reason we kept ourselves hidden. We're not your enemy. We're your shield. As if to emphasize his point, long-range sensors screamed warnings. A massive tear in space appeared at the edge of the system. Through it came something that made the Imperial fleet look tiny. A Void One, drawn by the concentration of ships. Watch, Thompson said quietly. The Dyson ring flared again. Earth's fleet moved with impossible precision, their formations creating complex geometric patterns in space. Project Prometheus activated fully, its quantum field expanding. The combined effect turned a section of space into a complex quantum knot. The Void One, a creature larger than most moons, found itself trapped, twisted, and folded through dimensions until it simply vanished. That, Thompson explained, is what we do. What we've always done. While you built an empire, we built a shield for humanity and every other species in this galaxy. Even you. In the Imperial fleet, ships began powering down their weapons. Crews stared in shock at their sensors, trying to understand what they'd just witnessed. First Speaker William had fallen into his chair, his face pale. Marcus stepped forward. Admiral Thompson, what do you want from us? Want? We don't want anything from you. We're telling you to leave because we're trying to protect you. This solar system is forbidden because it's a fortress, a bastion against things your empire isn't ready to face. As if to prove his point, 3 more tiers in space appeared. More Void Ones, drawn by the energy of the battle. Earth's fleet moved into new formations while the Dyson ring powered up again. Leave, Thompson said firmly. Leave now, while we hold them back. Go back to your empire and decide. Do you want to keep playing at being the greatest power in space, or do you want to learn how to help us protect everything you've built? The Imperial fleet, faced with horrors they never knew existed and power they couldn't comprehend, made the only sensible choice. They retreated, leaving Earth's defenders to face the real enemy once again. As the golden ships vanished into hyperspace, Project Prometheus engaged fully. The battle against the Void Ones began, just as it had countless times before. But this time, the Empire knew the truth about why Earth was truly forbidden territory. The Imperial Palace on Capital World had never been so quiet. In the Grand Meeting Hall, thousands of planetary representatives watched the recordings from the battle in Earth's solar system. They saw their mighty fleet rendered helpless. They watched Earth's defenders battle creatures from beyond space. Most importantly, they saw the truth about humanity's role in the galaxy. High Commander Marcus stood before them all, his voice echoing through the vast chamber. For 10,000 years, we thought we were the greatest power in the galaxy. We were wrong. While we conquered and ruled, humanity was fighting a war we never knew existed. The recording showed Earth ships sealing rifts in space, battling Void Ones, and maintaining the quantum barriers that kept the galaxy safe. Each image caused more whispers among the representatives. First Speaker William, his face aged years in just days, stood up. The Empire as we knew it ends today. We cannot pretend to be the galaxy's rulers when we have been unknowingly protected by Earth all this time. On the main screen, new images appeared. Earth had released their historical records, showing centuries of silent intervention. Earth ships rescuing Imperial colonies from Void One attacks, their memories carefully erased afterward. Human quantum fields deflecting space horrors from populated worlds. A constant, hidden shield around the entire galaxy. Representatives of the Empire, a new voice announced. Admiral Thompson's hologram appeared in the center of the hall. We've watched your discussion. Perhaps now you understand why we kept ourselves hidden. Why we marked our territory as forbidden. A representative from a distant world stood up. Why reveal everything now? Why not continue to work in secret? Because the Void Ones are getting stronger, Thompson replied. The barriers between dimensions are weakening. We need allies now, not subjects, not an empire, but partners. Marcus stepped forward. What are you proposing? A new alliance. The Empire's resources and people, combined with Earth's technology and experience, will teach you to understand what we've built, help you advance beyond simple conquest. Together, we can build a true defense for all life in this galaxy. The hall erupted in discussion. Some representatives demanded to maintain the Empire's independence. Others called for immediate alliance with Earth. A few even suggested surrendering completely to human authority. First Speaker William raised his hands for silence. Show them what happened after we retreated, he commanded. The main screen changed, showing the battle that followed the Imperial fleet's departure. Earth's defenders, using their Dyson Ring and Project Prometheus, fought against multiple Void Ones. The quantum fields twisted space itself, sealing the dimensional tiers and banishing the creatures back to their dark realm. That battle is still continuing, Thompson explained. It never really ends. But we're losing ground. Every year, more rifts appear. The Void Ones grow stronger. We need help. A younger representative stood up. But what can we offer? Your technology is far beyond ours. Technology isn't everything, Thompson replied. We need your people, your resources, your different perspectives. The Empire united thousands of worlds. Now we need that unity for a greater purpose. Marcus turned to face the assembly. I've seen these humans fight. They could have conquered us centuries ago. Instead, they'd protected us, bled for us, died for us, all while we played at being the galaxy's masters. The images on the screen changed again, showing Earth's colonies throughout their solar system. But now they revealed something new: training facilities, research centers, defense academies, places ready to teach and prepare others. The choice is yours, Thompson said. Earth will continue to defend the galaxy, whether you help us or not. That's what we've always done. But together, we could do so much more. First Speaker Williams stood again. I propose an immediate vote. The dissolution of the Empire and the formation of a new Galactic Defense Alliance, with Earth as our partners and teachers. The vote wasn't even close. 10,000 years of Imperial rule ended not with violence or revolution, but with understanding. The Empire fell because it finally saw its place in a much larger universe. As the representatives voted, Admiral Thompson's hologram watched with quiet satisfaction. Humanity's longest mission, protecting the galaxy while waiting for its civilizations to mature enough to handle the truth, was finally moving to its next phase. The Empire was dead. The Alliance was being born. And somewhere in the dark between galaxies, the Void Ones stirred, sensing the change coming to their ancient enemies. 1 year after the Empire's dissolution, the Sol system looked very different. Ships from 1,000 worlds moved freely through space that was once forbidden. But now they came as students and allies rather than conquerors. Admiral Thompson stood in the newly constructed Alliance Academy on Mars, watching representatives from former Imperial worlds learn about quantum mechanics and void defense technologies. The massive dome above showed Earth hanging like a blue jewel in the red Martian sky. The first class graduates tomorrow, Dr. Wilson said, walking up beside him. Their progress has been remarkable. Some of them are already helping us improve our void detection systems. Thompson nodded. And Project Prometheus. See for yourself. She gestured to a massive holographic display showing the galaxy. Dots of blue light mark the locations of new quantum defense stations being built by Alliance worlds. Already, they covered nearly a quarter of known space. In the training yard below, former Imperial officers worked alongside Earth instructors. Their golden uniforms now bore the new Alliance patch, a shield protecting the spiral galaxy. General Steele was teaching them how to operate quantum field generators, technology that would have seemed like magic just a year ago. Message from the Void Edge stations, a young officer reported. The new defense network repelled 3 incursions last week. 0 casualties. Thompson smiled. The alliance was working better than they had hoped. The former Empire's efficiency and organization, combined with Earth's technology and experience, was creating something greater than either civilization could have achieved alone. High Commander Marcus, now serving as Alliance Defense Coordinator, entered the observation room. "Admiral, the Council is ready for your report." The Council chamber had changed too. Instead of the Imperial Golden Throne, a simple round table dominated the room. Representatives from Earth sat alongside former Imperial worlds, all equal in the new order. "The transformation continues smoothly," Thompson reported to the assembled leaders. "The last of the old Imperial defense stations are being upgraded with quantum technology. More importantly, public education about the Void Ones has reached 90% of Alliance worlds." First Speaker William, now serving as one of many Council equals, leaned forward. "And the Forbidden Zone? Will Earth maintain its isolation?" "No," Thompson replied. "That policy died with the Empire. Earth is no longer forbidden territory. It's becoming the heart of our shared defense. Our solar system is transforming into the galaxy's shield wall." Dr. Wilson activated a new hologram, showing the completed Dyson ring around the sun. "We've adapted the ring to share its power with the new defense network. When fully operational, it will create a quantum barrier covering the entire Alliance territory." "And the Void Ones?" someone asked. "Still coming," Thompson admitted. "But now we're ready for them. Not just Earth, but all of us together." The meeting was interrupted by urgent signals. Long-range sensors detected multiple dimensional tiers forming at the galaxy's edge. The largest Void One incursion ever recorded was beginning. But this time, Earth didn't face them alone. Alliance ships jumped into position alongside Earth's defenders. New quantum barriers activated across thousands of light years. Project Prometheus, now linked to hundreds of smaller stations throughout Alliance space, created a web of defensive fields. In the Academy on Mars, students and teachers watched the battle through holographic displays. They saw Alliance ships, guided by Earth tactics and powered by human technology, seal dimensional rifts that would have swallowed whole stars. Former Imperial crews, now trained in quantum physics, created defense patterns that even surprised their Earth instructors. "This," Thompson said to the Council as they watched the coordinated defense, "is why we revealed ourselves. Not just to protect the galaxy, but to help it protect itself." The Void Ones were pushed back, retreating to their dark dimension. The combined fleet suffered no losses, a first in the long history of this secret war. As celebration broke out across Alliance worlds, Dr. Wilson approached Thompson privately. "Should we tell them about the prophecy? About what the quantum calculations predict is coming?" Thompson shook his head. "Not yet. They need this moment of victory. Besides, when the greater darkness comes, they'll be ready. We all will." Above Mars, Earth still hung in the sky, no longer forbidden, no longer isolated. Not a barrier anymore, but a beacon. Not an enemy, but a teacher. Not a conqueror, but a protector. The Empire had ended, but something far greater had taken its place. Humanity had finally fulfilled its ancient mission, not just to guard the galaxy, but to prepare it for the battles yet to come. And somewhere in the vast Alliance database, a file was quietly updated. Earth's status changed from Forbidden Territory to Alliance C Prime, Defense Command. The age of isolation was over. The age of unity had begun.